Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Tax reform is absolutely critical. A major tax cut is absolutely critical, and I believe we will get it done. We will see the House come together, the Senate come together to deliver results on this. Tax reform should follow three critical goals. Number one, front and center, jobs and economic growth. This should be all about jobs, jobs, jobs. More jobs, higher wage-paying jobs, more opportunity for Americans working to achieve the American dream. Number two is simplicity. The more simplicity, the better. There is power in bold simplicity. And number three is fairness. We should be treating the American people fairly, not picking winners and losers in Washington. And I want to commend the House of Representatives for rolling out the initial draft of their plan last week. I think it was a good step. It was a positive step. There are many good elements of that plan. Cutting the corporate rate to 20% is a good element. Allowing expensing of capital expenditures is a good element. Allowing and encouraging American companies to bring capital back to America to invest and create new jobs, that's a good element. All of those, I hope, will be part of what is ultimately passed. I will say that one of the tasks going forward is that in the House and the Senate, I think we need to do even more to provide a tax cut, not just tax reforms, but a tax cut to every American, to working men and women. I think there is a path forward that actually the President laid out last week, which is repealing the individual mandate, the IRS tax, from Obamacare. The IRS tax, the individual mandate from Obamacare, is profoundly unfair. Each year, the IRS fines about 6 million people because they don't have enough money to afford health care. Roughly 80% of the people getting fined by the IRS make $50,000 a year or less. Roughly 40% make $25,000 a year or less. In my home state of Texas, you've got about 1 million people a year getting fined by the IRS. So here's their situation. You got a single mom who's working, trying to make ends meet. She doesn't have enough money to purchase health insurance because Obamacare has driven health insurance through the roof. And on top of that, the IRS fines her because she doesn't have enough money to purchase health insurance. That is profoundly unfair. We need to repeal that. It's good policy, but here's the particular silver lining for tax reform. The Congressional Budget Office scores that repeal as saving over $400 billion, all of which I believe should be put directly into lowering tax rates on individuals. This draft does a good job on the corporate and business side. We need to do every bit as good a job on the individual side, lowering rates so that every American, so that if you're a single mom waiting tables, you get a tax cut. If you're a school teacher in upstate New York, you get a tax cut. If you're a farmer in Iowa or Nebraska, you get a tax cut. If you're a refinery worker in southeast Texas, you get a tax cut. Every American, every family, every individual sees a real tax cut to make it easier to provide for your needs. If we do that, it'll produce jobs, it'll produce economic growth, and it'll produce fairness for every American. That's our objective, and I believe we're going to get it done.